सर्वधर्म स्थापकत्वं सर्वधर्म स्वरूपकः आचार्याणां महाचार्यो रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. O establisher of all the faiths, embodiment of all the religions, the greatest teacher among all the teachers, O Sri Ramakrishna, my salutations to you. Namaste, Pranam. Brahman is identical with its power. Brahman is identical with Shakti. Brahman and Shakti are inseparable. They are one and the same thing, but manifested in different manners. And Sri Ramakrishna says that in this world where the beings are filled with the body consciousness, it is not good to say, I am Brahman. It is not advisable to adopt that path of saying, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. Because the knowledge that I am Brahman is actually covered with the veil of ignorance by that Chit Shakti, by that Mahamaya. She has put on this veil of ignorance in front of all the living beings, and they think, oh, I am such a great person. I am going to reach Brahman, which can never happen till the time this wretched ego exists. For that, this ego has to be transformed. The so-called I has to be transformed into the child of the mother, or the servant of the master, or the devotee of the great deity. Only then, as the spiritual aspirant progresses on this path, slowly the realization will come. Slowly the Mahamaya, the Chit Shakti, will remove that covering of ignorance from in front of us, and then we will be with the Brahman, we will be with the Paramatman face to face. Then we can claim Aham Brahmosmi. Till then, we should not even utter this word of I am Brahman. And then this is what Sri Ramakrishna had told, that as long as the covering remains, the Vedantic formula, the Vedantic mantra of I am He, Saha Aham Brahmosmi, that is, the man is the supreme Brahman, does not rightly apply. Till the time which this veil is there, till the time this covering of ignorance is there, we can never attain to that ultimate realization of I am He. The wave is part of water, Sri Ramakrishna says, but water is not wave. Brahman is part of all this creation. This entire creation is filled with Brahman, but the creation is not Brahman. Brahman is Brahman. Brahman is eternal. Creation is momentary. Although a creation may last for millions and billions of years, still there is an end. But that is not the case with the Brahman, who is eternal, Satchidananda, indivisible. Addressing God, the devotee should say, Thou art the mother, I am thy child. That is the mantra one should take up. I am your child. Oh, my mother, you are my mother, I am your child. You are my master, I am your servant. Adopt that attitude. Start chanting that mantra, that I am your child, O mother. Please guide me. Please take me on your lap. Please show me the way. Please let me know who you are. And then that mighty, almighty mother will lift the veil of ignorance, and we will come face to face with that ultimate reality. God's play on earth as an incarnation is the manifestation of the glory of the Chit Shakti, the divine power. Sri Ramakrishna says even the great incarnations, they are the manifestation of this Chit Shakti. They are the manifestation of this Mahamaya. That which is Brahman is also Rama, is also Krishna, is also Shiva, is also Durga, is also Kali. All these gods and goddesses, the incarnations, they are the representations of the same Advaita Brahman. And then Sri Ramakrishna now is teaching us that how this Chit Shakti, the Mahamaya, deludes us. Sri Ramakrishna is teaching us today, the Chit Shakti as Mahamaya has deluded all with the ignorance. All beings under the ignorance of I am so and so, that I am such and such person, such a big person. This I, when it gets inflated, the that is the play of Mahamaya. That is the play of the Chit Shakti. The Chit Shakti as Mahamaya has deluded all with the ignorance. It is said that in the Adhyatma Ramayana, that when the rishis saw Rama, they prayed to him in these words only, O Rama, please do not delude us with your world bewitching Maya. The Brahman, with that world bewitching Maya, in the form of Rama or Krishna, with the world bewitching Maya, they put this veil of ignorance. All these incarnations, all these avatars, all these representations of the Brahman, with the Chit Shakti, with the Mahamaya, they put on the veil of ignorance in front of all the living beings, and they start groping in the dark, not knowing what is the ultimate truth. Then listening to these words, Ishan naturally he asks Sri Ramakrishna, what is Maya? Everybody talks about Maya. Maya has deluded us. Maya has put on this veil of ignorance. Maya has put on this illusion before us that the world is real, and we start to enjoy these worldly enjoyments thinking this is the reality, not knowing that this is just ephemeral, this is just momentary, this is going to die soon. So Ishan asks, what is this Maya? And then Sri Ramakrishna answers to this question. Sri Ramakrishna says, whatever you see, think or hear is Maya. The moment the duality comes into effect, that is the illusion created by Maya. Whatever we think, whatever we see here, whatever we see, everything in this creation for that matter, in the Jagat for that matter, is the creation of Maya, is the doing of Maya. In a word, woman and gold is the covering of Maya. This is the simplest term that Sri Ramakrishna always explains, how we can understand Maya. Just imagine anything leading to lust and greed, that is nothing but Maya. The woman and gold, the lust and greed, that is the hardcore representation of Maya. Maya traps us in this bondage of lust and greed, and that's the end of the being. There is no harm in chewing betel-leaf, eating fish, smoking or rubbing body with the oil. What will one achieve by renouncing only these things? Now, all these things are there, they are considered to be sort of unethical, not good. These are the bad habits. These are the addictive habits, people smoking, people chewing betel leaf, even people eating non-vegetarian food, or rubbing body with the oil. That is kind of taking care of the body with the intention that let my body remain long, let my body shine, let my body be the most beautiful body in this world. All efforts are taken care of to preserve and take care of this body. Now Sri Ramakrishna says all these acts for that matter, they are not that bad. What will one achieve by renouncing only these things? What is to be renounced in reality is the lust and greed. The only thing needful is the renunciation of woman and gold. This is the advice Sri Ramakrishna used to give to his main folks, and to the women devotees he used to say, renounce man and gold. Renounce, in short, renounce lust and greed. Once a person renounces these two things, the path for salvation, the path for liberation automatically opens up. The renunciation of lust and renunciation of greed. These are the only two forceful factors which are trapping us in this bondage of worldliness. The one thing needful is renunciation of woman and gold. There is no point saying that, okay, I will quit eating bitter leaves, I'll chewing bitter leaves, I'll quit smoking, I will quit eating, fish, or I will quit rubbing oil on my body or taking care of my body for that matter. There is no point in renouncing these things, Sri Ramakrishna says. You may continue provided you renounce lust and greed. These are the two things which are primarily to be shunned, which are primarily to be given up, which are primarily to be renounced. There is no shortcut to liberation than cutting off from the lust and greed. Householders should go into solitude now and then. This is the way Sri Ramakrishna teaches how to get rid of lust and greed. Get into solitude now and then. Chant the name of God, sing the glories of God, get into the holy company and remove your association with the woman and gold. Just get rid of this association with the lust and greed by encouraging the attitude towards devotion, towards devotional practices. Get into solitude once in a while and chant the name of God, sing the glories of God. Householders should go into solitude now and then to practice spiritual discipline in order to cultivate devotion to God. They should renounce mentally. Sri Ramakrishna says in the householder's life, the practical renunciation of money and sex may not be possible all the time, but at least renounce mentally. Don't get attached. Don't get attached to the lust and greed at all. Renounce mentally and keep on doing your worldly duties. That is Sri Ramakrishna's advice to the householders. But sannyasi should renounce both mentally and physically. There is no other alternative for a monk. There is no other alternative for the one who has renounced everything in this life. That is the true renunciation of the sannyasis, of the monks and nuns. They necessarily have to renounce lust and greed physically as well as mentally. For householders, Sri Ramakrishna is a bit lenient. He says, at least you renounce mentally. Physically, automatically, as you progress on the path of devotion, you will also get into physical renunciation of lust and greed. But first, make it mentally possible. Renounce the whole attachments mentally. Cut off all the attachments leading to lust and greed mentally. And then you will be able to succeed to renounce them even physically, even in reality. Then Sri Ramakrishna says, I once said to Keshab, how can a typhoid patient be cured if he remains in a room where a pitcher of water and a jar of pickles are kept? Till the time we are in this worldly life surrounded by all the temptations and attractions, how can we get rid of this fever of worldliness? For that, we have to get out of this worldly temptations, at least for a while. Get into solitude. Be on your own. Be just with your chosen deity, Sri Ramakrishna says. You and your mother. Be there for one day. Get rid of all these worldly temptations and attractions and attachments just for a day. And then slowly practice it by renouncing mentally to start with. Now and then one should live in solitude. That is Sri Ramakrishna's advice to the householders. Now and then get into solitude. Get away from this maddening crowd. Get away from these temptations. Get away from these attractions, at least for a day or two or three. Sri Ramakrishna's request, sincere request to the householders. And then a devotee asked, since Sri Ramakrishna says that he had suggested, he had advised the same thing to Keshab Chandra Sen. This devotee asks, sir, what do you think of the Navavidhan? Now, Navavidhan is the new dispensation, the order that was being promoted by the Brahmos. So this devotee asks, what do you think of Navavidhan? It seems to me like a hotchpotch of everything. Now this devotee is not very appreciative of the teachings of Navavidhan. Sri Ramakrishna says, some say it is a modern thing. That sets me wondering. Then is the God of Brahmo Samaj a new God? Sri Ramakrishna also conferred with whatever this devotee said, that kind of a hotchpotch thing of new things. And then Sri Ramakrishna says, some people say this is a new thing that has come up, the latest fad of being termed as the Navavidhan, the new dispensation. Now, Sri Ramakrishna puts this question, does it mean that it is a new God that the Brahmos are creating, the followers of Navavidhan are creating? That then is the God of Brahmo Samaj a new God? The Brahmos speak of their cult as the Navavidhan, a new dispensation. Well, it may be so, Sri Ramakrishna says. Who knows? There are 6 systems of philosophy, so perhaps it is like one of them. Sri Ramakrishna is not giving any comment whether it is good or bad. He just leaves it that, okay, let the time tell whether Navavidhan is going to stand like the 6 streams of the Indian philosophy. There are 6 streams of philosophy, so perhaps it is like one of them. Let us see. Let us see in future whether the teachings of Navavidhan, of the new dispensation, are going to last forever like these 6 systems of Indian philosophy. Then Sri Ramakrishna says that, but you know where those who speak of formless God make their mistake? Like these Brahmos, Sri Ramakrishna says, where do they make a mistake? They are teaching so many great things about the formless aspect of the God. There is no idol, don't do the idol worshipping. They are all teaching all these things. But one mistake in the view of Sri Ramakrishna, all these people are there making is, but do you know where those who speak of formless God make their mistake? It is where they say that God is formless only, and that those who differ with them are wrong. That is the greatest mistake, Sri Ramakrishna says, that all these Brahmos, the so-called new dispensation, Navavidhan prescribers, they are doing. They think only their path is true. They think only what they are projecting, what they are teaching, what they are preaching is the true path. All other paths are wrong and they are not taking you anywhere onto the path of liberation. That is the greatest mistake, Sri Ramakrishna says, all these followers of this particular path they are making. But I know that God is both with form and without form. That is Sri Ramakrishna's firm conviction. Just don't say that God is only formless. God is formless as well as God has form. When the Chit Shakti starts her play, the same formless aspect of the God takes myriads of forms, hundreds and crores of forms. The Chit Shakti projects this single Brahman. This Advaita Brahman is projected by Chit Shakti, by Mahamaya, into the millions and millions of gods and goddesses and incarnations. But I know that God is both with and without form, and He may be many more aspects. We only know so-called few gods and goddesses, but we don't know. There might be many more aspects to this indivisible, akhanda, Satchidananda Brahman, which is Nirakar, which is formless. It is where they say, but I know that God is both with and without form, and He may have many more aspects. It is possible for Him to be everything. Don't limit your God only to be formless. This is where the Brahmos and the people who who are practicing the worship of formless aspect of God, that is the biggest mistake they are doing when they consider only their path is true and all other paths are false. All other paths are of no use to take you to that liberation. And that's why Sri Ramakrishna says, Jato mat, tato poto. As many faiths, so many paths. There is no dearth to the paths of reaching the ultimate, Sri Ramakrishna says. All the paths, they lead to the same goal. Whether you take the form of worshipping the formless aspect of the God, or you take the path of worshipping God with form, and not only just with one form, but myriads, hundreds and thousands of forms. All the paths, they will take you to the same destination, that is Sri Ramakrishna's teaching. Om Namah Shri Bhagavate Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanastu. Jai Thakur, Jai Maha, Jai Swami.